everyone! So there have been quite a few updates to DJI FlightHub 2 software, and these changes directly impact survey and construction. So I thought I'd jump on here, run through what the changes are and how you can use them to your benefit. So we will jump straight into what these benefits are. So the first one is the flight dashboard. You can now easily view all of the data in one place. So that is all of the assets, all of the data outputs, whether that's the images that you've collected, any videos or any models, any 2D maps or reports that you've created. You can view it all in one area. You can view your flight missions and your flight data all on one page. So what this looks like is something like this. So you can see on the left hand side in the bottom left hand corner, you get full oversight of all data outputs. So that's the number of assets, that's your number of models, the number of reports that you've created, and number of AI alert photos. We'll jump into what AI alert photos are in just a moment, but you can view it all on this one page. Then you can view the media files, so how many images you've got on there, how many videos, for the models, the meshes, the point cloud, the 2D maps, and then any reports that you create at the end. We will go through this a little bit later on, what kind of reports you can do, but you can see how many you've done just in this dashboard, and then any intelligent warnings as well. You can view all of the flight data, so number of flights per asset, the flight time and the flight distance. So that'll be easier for when you're reporting to the CAA. You have it all on one dashboard so you can report that back. The next big one is multimodal large model. So essentially what this is, it's for if you're checking for anything. We'll jump into an example in just a moment, but let's say you wanted to find all of the black cars in an area. You'll simply type out black car into the text box, and then it will search either the model or the images or the live feed for black cars, and you can identify them all in one place. So in this example for construction, we've got yellow diggers. You could either type a yellow digger in there, or you can take a screen grab of the yellow digger, input that in, and then any matching other yellow diggers, it'll then pick out as well. It's just a cool function to have. So this is able to be accessed within the media library. What you'll do is select the folder to search. You can then put your images in. It can support up to 5,000 photos at once. So it doesn't matter the size of your site. You can search every single image for what it is you're looking for. You can search for targets and tags. So that's by entering the text, yellow digger, or uploading an image of a yellow digger. And then you can view them results in real time as well. So you can do it as it's going on. And then these can be exported into reports as well. So you can say on this site there was 10 diggers there, as an example. Then the next biggest change has been being able to do the data acquisition, the reconstruction, the analysis, and then the application all in one platform. So where we see in DJI Terra, it takes the 2D and turns it into the 3D, stitches the images together, and then you would have to put it into DJI Modify. In FlightHub 2, you can do everything in one place. So for cloud modeling, you have got one-stop cloud modeling. So exactly the same as you have been able to do in DJI Terra. You can do your 2D mapping and your modeling in FlightHub 2. Because it's cloud-based, there's no need for the local computing power that you do need with DJI Terra. So you don't need a very high spec computer. Like for DJI Terra, it's 32 gig of RAM. Because it's cloud based, it reduces that need for a gaming laptop. On FlightHub 2 instead, if you don't have that spec of a laptop, and do everything cloud based. So in terms of reconstruction types, you've got 2D orthos, and for 3D models, you've got the point cloud, you've got the mesh, models, you've got the point cloud and you've got the mesh. You can put in your own coordinate systems, so you can put in GCPs if you wanted to. You can put it to OSGB for the UK and ODN height. You can change that in FlightHub 2 just as you can in DJI Terra. But you can fully put in your GCPs, so all you will do is upload a CSV file into FlightHub 2. That'll then identify the ground control points, compare that to what you have captured with the drone. Most of the time you'll be using RTK connection, so it should only be out by 30mm max of where the ground control points are. But then all you do is click on all of the images, zoom into the center of that GCP and click as close to the center as possible, and that ties them in. You don't have to click through all of the images yourself to find these GCPs because all of the images will be geo-referenced from the drone. FlightHub 2 will auto-identify them and match them up. But if it does fail to do so, which I've not had an experience where it has failed, but should it fail to do so, then you can do it manually if you want to. And then for the interpretation side, you've got a few different functions now in FlightHub 2. You can do design file import, you can do timelines, you can do measurement calculations, and then you've also got automations for future flights as well. So if we start with the design files, and input that custom projected coordinate system into there, so you've got drawing calibration. You can custom them parameters, and then you can also find matching points as well. So here is an example where you can overlay them vector drawings on top of the model in FlightHub 2. You don't need to export it into your own third-party software like CAD to be able to do that. You can do it all in one platform. This example where that was useful was you could see whether the boundaries of each subdam were in accordance with the design drawing, and you can also see whether the overall boundary of the whole dam body conforms to the design drawing. So you can see what was done in the pre-planning stage is now actually going into effect now that the construction has started. Here is another example of where this is being used. So on the drainage well number 4, it does conform to the design. The current inundation line of the tailing storage facility conforms to the design, and the current inundation line of the tailing storage facility does not conform to design in the middle there. You can also bring up the values of the photos of the same route at different waypoints or different times. So say you did a site today and then you go back and do a site next week, you can see that change. You can see them changes in the Z value across the images. That brings me on nicely to the timeline function, which I personally think is the best new function added to FlightHub 2. You can compare different drone data collections over time to see what changes have actually been made. So, for example, if you're doing stockpile measurements, you could do a survey today and do a survey next Friday and compare the differences, see what's been brought in, any changes that have been made. So this timeline function is supported by the wide angle, the zoom and the infrared images. It supports panorama photos, it supports the 2D and the 3D models. So here is an example. You can compare it over time. So we'll go through that again. That's how it started. Then on the next one, then the next one, and then construction completed. So you can have a real timeline of what is going on site, which I think is really important because the whole point of drone data isn't only that you can collect it faster, it's also so easy to collect the data. So if you can send the drone up and get a series of images a few times a day, you can see how much progress is being made just in one day. Whereas if you're doing it the traditional way by using total stations or GPS receivers, you're not going to do it multiple times a day. You'll be even lucky to do it once a week to check the progress of site. The whole point of drone data is so you've got more data quicker and easier at your fingertips. So being able to directly compare exactly what is going on is a great function to have. Then you can also take your measurements, so you can do the distance between 2 points, you can do the size of a polygon, and then you can also do the gradient of a road as an example. You've got triangulation measurement, so that's horizontally projection perimeter, spatial perimeter, maximum altitude difference. Or then you've got polygon measurement, so you can horizontally project the area, spatial area, horizontally projected perimeter, spatial perimeter, altitude difference to points. For project measurements, you've got gradient calculation, so you can do the gradient, gradient percentage, gradient ratio, and that can also support multiple line segments as well. And extract cross sections, so again it supports the multi-phase models, it supports comparison with the design files. Volume measurements, you can do excavation volume, fill volume, any volume differences, and then total volume. So this is supported by the 2D, 3D and the point clouds. You can also compare the volume measurements of two-phase models and then also multi-phase models as well. And then you can create a customizable measurement report afterwards to see what has changed and when it has changed as well. So here is an example of 6 models collected at different times. Down at the bottom, you can see any volume changes or trends as the construction is going on. And then you can create an analysis report at the end of that. So export the measurement results with custom templates. You select measurement types to be exported, any custom cover and company logos if you need to be sending that off to your own clients. You can display of headers and footers. Also support selection of report generation and delivery time as well. Here is an example on the right of what one of them reports would look like of a typical quarry as an example. Then for data replication, in that timeline function you can do a swipe comparison. So you literally swipe it from left to right to see what differences have occurred. You can see going left to right to see what has changed. And you can see here that that little building has moved. And then you can highlight that, take any measurements from it so you can see what has exactly changed. The software itself can also find the differences, so it uses intelligent algorithms to detect any change areas between the two data sets. It'll automatically mark the change regions for you, and it'll also generate statistics of change area information. So this could be for vehicles, for vessels, anything like that. And then it also supports exporting detection results as reports as well, should you need to pass that information on. And here is the example of that. You can see the rubbish that used to be there isn't there anymore. So you can now see the report there as well of what changes have happened. So if you did need to send that off to a client, you could then send that off. If you didn't need it to include certain things, you can just delete that out of the report. You can do flight route editing in FlightHub too. So it's an immersive 3D route editing. What you see is what you get. For survey routes, it could be area-based or corridor-based, or it could be oblique, geometric, close-range photogrammetry, supported by all of the mainstream drone models. So your M3 series, M4 series, your 300, your 350, your 400, and your docks. You can then create an automated workflow, so you drag and drop them automated workflow configurations in, and the workflow looks like editing your flight route, planning the mission, cloud mapping, data analysis, and then export report. So it's literally a one-stop shop for everything that you need to do, your data collection, your data processing, and your data interpretation at the end. That is pretty much everything. This was a very brief overview, so if you guys do have any questions, give me a call. My mobile number is just there on the screen, or drop me an email and I'll be more than happy to help. See you all later. Bye bye.